So I'm glad X is the way it is, because there's a lot of stuff that continues to happen that always was swept under the rug by a lot of the mainstream media companies. And thankfully, like, they had to acknowledge it, and it's entirely because of X. X is single-handedly carrying a lot of news stories that nobody would have heard of. Not a single person. And it got to the point where they even had to force CNN to make a video on what happened when the girl got stabbed in the train. Absolutely sickening. Especially the way they handled it was terrible. They never specified anything about the guy. They never called it a murder. They were actually mad about it, saying, oh, it's just a one-time event that these people made bigger than it actually was. They never brought up the point that he was arrested 14 times. They didn't do anything. And they were so bitchy and moany about it, too. They bitched and moaned that they had to show the story because there was so much pressure. They had no choice but to do it. Yeah, but there's a lot of stuff happening, and thankfully X is a great source of news for all this. But Conor McGregor to become the next president of Ireland, that's cool. And I remember they're trying to block him from becoming president because Conor is popular. And they deserve a president like Conor. He needs to win. As for this sign that someone drew in Britain, and I respect it. This shows the exact messaging, which is that the judges are literally killing protesters and hurting them the most they probably can. But Britain, the protests have gotten worse and worse, and people have been putting flags everywhere. People have been uniting off of the country that they live in and love in. Man, yeah, they're literally everywhere.
Français, réveille-toi, le pouvoir est à toi. Réveille-toi.
If you can see, they're all carrying the French flag. They're not carrying flags of other countries. No, it's French. Meaning these people are the ones that actually do care about their country. Let me see, where was the other one? And this was done by, I'm not even going to say his name. Something Braun. And I agree with this decision. The EU has done nothing but make every country under its specific laws worse and worse. They don't care about how many people die. They don't care how many people they import. They don't care how many people suck the government dry. The only thing they care about is forcing as many people into these countries as possible. Thankfully, Poland has not fallen for the trap. Thankfully. Let's see. Yeah. The EU flag. That worthless piece of shit. Thankfully, they took it down. Yeah, that's right. Show them exactly what this disgusting piece of shit flag represents. I don't even know what he's saying, and I know he's talking about how shitty everything is. Yeah. Thank God. There it is.
Brauna. Jest z nami również pan poseł Roman Fritz, poseł Ziemi Śląskiej, pan Wojciech Siński, Komitet Polityczny.
Perfect representation of what this piece of shit means.
Jest również pan Krzysztof Figura, pełnomocnik wyborczy.
Wow. You see that? He had more respect for the bottle of liquid he dropped on the flag than the flag itself. Thank you.
A znajdujemy się w Katowicach przed kopalnią Wujek, kopalnią węgla kamiennego. Przed południem
There it is.
Przemysłu.
Yeah.
Nasi posłowie
Get rid of that terrorist organization out of your country. They clearly don't care about Europe or anything else.
Na na Śląsku w Katowicach. Ministerstwo
I don't know what he's saying, but this guy single-handedly has a great point. I don't even know what he's saying. I agree with him fully anyways. But yeah, the EU has done irreparable damage to these countries, especially how their border policy works. It doesn't matter how many girls get raped. It doesn't matter how many people get hurt. Let me see if I can find it. Here. No, not that one. Here it is. Here it is. 2,000. England and Wales. Close to 9,000. Germany. Close to 9,000. France. Close to 8,000. Poland. Close to 3,000. Look at that now. 68,000. Look at that. 68,000. 60,000 extra rapes. Then you go here. 31,000 extra rapes. 35,000 extra rapes. Then you go to Poland. Look. Less rapes. Less. They're the only one that decreased on that list. Yeah. Thank God, Poland. You are a great example of a European country that's still doing its job protecting its people. Now we go here, because protests are happening everywhere, and I'm real thankful that, like, all this shit is finally getting exposed. They are mad.
From the US to the UK, Poland, Australia, Ireland, and many others. A fresh wave of anti-immigrant protests are being witnessed in many countries in the West. Concerns over crime and security dominate the discourse, with top leaders often linking migrants to terrorism or violent crime.
What his people did, representing him, was allow millions and millions of people from jails, from prisons all over the world, people from mental institutions and insane asylums, gang members, drug dealers, pouring into our place. And you know what? Our people voted for me to get them out.
Yep.
Crime rate's gone up. There's a lot of assault charges that have been dished out.
And we're being treated like second-class citizens.
Yep. When a country doesn't bother taking its citizens as the biggest priority of it, there is a problem. It's not a country anymore. It's entirely failed at what it's supposed to do. The moment your country has interest of somebody else over the civilians in it, you are fucked.
Our kids struggling to get homes.
What is behind the rising protests against migrants in the West? Why is the right to asylum under stress in many European nations? Are the protests xenophobic or carefully orchestrated to win votes?
Bro, that word has been used so many times to the point nobody gives a shit. Nobody gives a shit what it means anymore. And it's all because these people have blurred the lines so much. They don't care. They never will care anymore. If you call it racist, sexist, homophobic, guess what? People don't care about these titles anymore. They do not care.
We delve into these questions in the latest episode of HT In Depth. On September 6th, hundreds of people rallied outside the European Commission offices in Warsaw to denounce the European Union's immigration policies.
Yep.
Footage shows protesters rally with flags and placards reading "Mass migration is a threat. Poland must remain a country for Poles."
Masowa migracja jest zagrożeniem.
Yep.
Mass migration is a threat. Poland must remain a country for Poles.
Nie mamy za zadanie
We are not tasked with saving everyone. We have a duty to work for the success of our nation, and through our work we will achieve that success. Mass immigration is harmful, and we will say a resounding no. I encourage us to work together to resist this invasion, this alien culture and this alien civilization. Meanwhile, a group of counter-protesters was also seen rallying at the site. It is very important that we show that not all people in Poland are obsessed with this hatred, that many people are fed up with racism, fed up with this wave that is actually flowing from the top down, because unfortunately, the example comes from those in power. And we say enough. We say we don't want to return to the 1930s. We don't want to return to racist pogromists. We don't want to return in any way to the policies of fascism, Nazism, or Hitlerism. Earlier this year, Prime Minister Donald Tusk had said that Poland would not implement the EU Migration Pact, which is set to take effect in 2026.
Thank God.
The pact compels EU member states to evenly share the cost and burden of housing migrants in the zone, while implementing transnational changes to asylum and border policies.
Hell no. It's time. Look, these people keep coming from other countries into there. It's time for them to realize this is not working. Kick them out. A lot of people from these countries come under different neighborhoods, different societal standards, different things that they do. And if they don't even respect the basic policy of the country they're coming in, why do you need to keep them? They obviously show they don't respect your culture, your country, nothing. If they're peaceful and they don't hurt your country and they actually benefit it, they can stay as long as they came there the legal way. That's how it should be. That's how it always has been.
In the United Kingdom, hundreds of demonstrators took to the streets in several cities, with tensions particularly high near hotels housing asylum seekers. Large crowds gathered in Scotland chanting slogans and holding signs reading "Stop the Boats." Similar scenes were also witnessed in Skegness, Liverpool, where protesters marched through the town. Protests started after the arrest of an Ethiopian asylum seeker at a hotel in Epping on charges of sexual assault. Other incidents at hotels housing migrants, especially those involved in alleged sexual offenses.
Just so you guys know, what they recently started doing was they started housing people in hospitals as well as hotels and like luxury hotels too, over their own civilians, at the cost of the tax dollar base from the civilians that are paying taxes. And what these people have shown is that clearly they don't care. They do not care. These people are literally fighting against their own tyrannical government at this point. They need to get them out. They need to get all these politicians in jail, because all of them were purposefully ignoring everything. It doesn't matter how many people die, how many people get molested, how many people get hurt, how many girls get taken and things done to them, because these politicians want to just feel good about themselves. Feel good with their 25 plus security teams in whatever the house they have. They don't deal with this problem because you see, it's the middle class and poor people that are struggling because of this. Not a single one of those politicians care because they don't see it in their neighborhood. So why would they think it's bad?
Have also inflamed tensions and have been heavily publicized by activists.
Crime rate's gone up. There's a lot of assault charges that have been dished out. A lot of young boys, young children have had their phones stolen from them and robbed at knife point, and they all run back into there.
However, members of the Stand Up to Racism group claim there is no merit in the argument that migrants and refugees are behind the rise in crime rates.
Well, the myths are that anything under the sun is the only...
I mean, they already broke your laws by coming in illegally. That already increases crime rates. Any other thing they do increases crime. Oh my god, she fucking... I'm so tired of these people, especially the glasses and the nose ring. This has become the national symbol of like people that are enemies to your country, because they'll do everything in your power to vote all the terrorists and people destroying it inside.
Down to the problems of refugees and migrants, whether it's crime, whether it's sexual violence and so on. Actually, we know that none of that is true. And if you look at the people in the refugee hotel there, they're desperate people who have fled war, who have to live on £9.95 a week. And actually, that there's nothing unique about any race or any ethnicity about causing an uptick in crime.
Actually, there is. If you come from a shithole where crime is rampant everywhere and normal, and you go to a new country, You have to adopt to the new changes, and if you don't, you have to be sent back. You have to adopt to the new country's rules and laws and standards, because if you don't deserve to be there.
Crime or any of these things. It's racist lies, but actually it's racist lies that are fed by the media and by politicians all the time.
Oh my God.
The United Kingdom is facing a record number of asylum claims and arrivals by migrants in small boats across the English Channel, including more than 28,000 this year. With immigration polling as the public's top concern, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer's Labour government has been under pressure to deliver on its pledge to end hotel use, which is costing billions of dollars a year.
We will finally honour what take back control meant and begin to choose who comes here. We will create a migration system that is controlled, selective, and fair. A clean break with the past.
He has absolutely no conception, as part of the North London set, of the genuine damage to community that has been done by mass immigration over the course of the last 25 years.
Oh, I love that.
And it was interesting that in his 5 key priorities for government, immigration, whether legal or illegal, wasn't even mentioned.
The UK government has also said that it is examining the use of military sites to house migrants, amid growing criticism over the practice of accommodating asylum seekers in hotels.
Yep, literal terrorist president.
In Australia, more than 45,000 people participated in rallies branded as the March for Australia, which critics say targeted Muslim migrants and the government's multicultural policies. Western media reported that many of these demonstrations were driven by far-right groups and even neo-Nazi movements.
Look, if you call everyone that doesn't agree with every ideology you have far-right, eventually far-right becomes nothing more than just a random label that doesn't mean shit. It's the same thing as racism. If everybody's racist, does racism matter anymore? The answer is no, because you watered down the word, so it doesn't even mean anything anymore. Fuck it. They call you far right, you know what? Don't give a shit about the label, because they used that label as a beating stick for so long to cover up every bad thing that's ever happened to you guys. Words are nothing more than a means to keep these people in a perpetual state of destruction of their own country. Hell no.
From Melbourne to Sydney, demonstrators have framed migrants as convenient scapegoats for the country's housing crisis, invoking slogans steeped in xenophobia and white nationalism.
I see my family and my friends who are unable to find a rental, they can't afford their bills. Where do we stop here? Exactly. Something needs to give, and if this is a show out that you can see, we all feel the same way. And I mean, we've got people here, obviously not the typical Aussie-looking guys, but they're Aussies all the same, and this is what we need to do, is look after our own first, then we can help.
100%.
And then we can help others when we can.
That's right. It's not about immigration, it's about our country bursting at the seams, and our government is bringing more and more people in. Our kids struggling to get homes. Our hospitals, we have to wait 7 hours. Our roads, there's lack of roads. They're just bursting at the seams. We have to slow down immigration, probably for 10 years so we can catch up in Australia.
Ireland. Hopefully Conor wins. Conor McGregor, please win, man.
Anti-immigration protests also escalated into clashes with police in several towns in Northern Ireland in recent months.
Damn,
riots in Ballymena erupted after Romanian teenagers appeared in Coleraine Magistrates Court on sexual assault charges, which they denied.
15,000 people homeless, Irish people homeless in Ireland, and migrants come in and they're housed within a week or two. I met a girl on the train that told me I waited 7 years to get a council house. I was living in sheltered accommodation until then. What is the justice in that? There's inequality in this country. I mean, Irish citizens are second-class citizens in their own country, and it's going to get worse.
They have to be sent back. That's costing so many billions each year, you know, and they're not taking care of the Irish homeless people. They're putting these Ukrainians and all into their own modular homes. They're paying for their cars to be fixed, and we're being treated like second-class citizens. And if we're not careful, we're going to be like the way the North American Indians went. and that happened so quickly because there were so many people came in and they were just eventually pushed out.
A spate of violent incidents since have sown alarm and bewilderment among Indians, Africans, and other nationalities in the country. In a shocking...
Yep. And this is the stuff. It's happening everywhere at once. If it happens in one country, like, maybe something wrong is happening. But if it's happening in, like, 5-6 different countries all at once, it's not a coincidence. There's something wrong desperately happening. Let's see. A 6-year-old girl of Indian origin was brutally assaulted by a group of boys outside her residence in, oh my fucking god, Waterford, Ireland, with the attackers allegedly shouting, "Go back to India," and hitting her in the private parts. Oh, okay. That definitely is bad.
In case, boys in a County Waterford housing estate allegedly punched a 6-year-old girl in the face, hit her in the genital area with a bicycle, and told her, "Go back to India."
Wait, bicycle? Oh shit. Okay, I'll say that definitely is bad.
Experts say the rise of anti-immigrant movements can be traced to economic insecurity, demographic shifts, cultural clashes, and geopolitical upheaval. Several politicians have also sought to use the migrant issue to strike fear among citizens. Economic anxiety, housing shortages, and pressure on healthcare and schools are frequently blamed on immigration, sometimes in stark contrast to actual data. For politicians, these sentiments are fertile ground, and anti-immigration rhetoric often translates into votes, framing parties as defenders of sovereignty and cultural order.
And the thing is, immigration is a problem. If someone comes into your country illegally and takes money from the taxpayers that pay it, instead of the taxpayers receiving things in exchange from the government, there is something wrong. There has to be something wrong. Because illegal immigrants are not sovereign to your nation. You don't have a reason to take care of them. If they came here legally, live here legally, have not committed any crime, that's a difference. But anyone illegally doing all that bullshit, getting away with it, and these stupid politicians letting them out every time they do a crime, absolutely deplorable.
Many experts argue that this has been exemplified by U.S. President Donald Trump, who has made immigration enforcement a central issue in his second term.
Because
observers warn that a surge in such protests intensifies social polarization and provides momentum to extremist organizations across the West. Human rights advocates also...
Oh, fun fact, Obama deported 3 million people in his term. 3 million. Just so you know, that's currently more than Donald Trump deported. And none of these people had a single bad word to say about him. Like, this is just basic common knowledge. Bill Clinton did it, George Bush did it, pretty much every president before did it. It's only a problem when he does it.
Argue that governments must address underlying socio-economic grievances without scapegoating migrants. But will voices of reason get an ear in the world that becomes more polarized with every passing day?
And this is the thing. The government saw all these problems and happily ignored them. Then, every time they pass something to protect kids or anything, what they do is they restrict the news that comes out on everything they don't like coming out. Then they start arresting their own civilians just for talking about things. Hell, I saw recently in Britain, if you have a security camera of looking at a certain place, you can't have it anymore because it's apparently dangerous. Like, these people are purposefully not giving any room for a conversation that was needed to have so many years ago. So once the room for the conversation was thrown away, called racist, called evil, without even being acknowledged, these people now are surprised that violence is happening. Violence happened because you never gave them any reason to talk. It's because you never gave them any room to talk in the first place. It was either agree with everything you do, or you're racist. That's what they said. And now they're surprised that a lot of violent uprisings are happening. It should not be surprising. Every one of these places needs to protect their countries and cultures because the EU is destroying every single place here. I consider it a terrorist organization at this point. And all the politicians at the top of these piece of shit countries are bringing them down further than anyone else's country ever has. But yeah, it's sad that there's so little news coming from outside of the US. And I get it. American media is for Americans, but every once in a while we should focus on this, but the only places I can find it literally are X and random news stations that don't focus on America. But hopefully you guys succeed. I really want you to win. I want Conor McGregor to win Ireland. I want you guys to get Britain back. I want you guys to get Australia back and all that stuff. And then enforce immigration policy the way it needed to be. Because your politicians failed you completely, and they should all be in jail. Every single one of them that failed you this astronomically bad.